Already explain life to you. Conclude they don't care, they ain't there. Ain't nobody care. God like you do. Let me explain, I always try to.
You know, when you think about resilience, pop culture always gives us this, big cinematic moment.
Oh, yeah, the swelling music, the person on top of the mountain.
Exactly. But the source text we're digging into today, it just throws that whole idea out.
It really does. It
Yeah.
frames resilience less as a feeling, of triumph and more as just a stubborn act, the act of staying put.
And the source itself is this incredibly raw first-person narrative. It's about betrayal, faith, survival.
And our mission for this deep dive is to unpack that.
Yeah.
How does the narrator go from feeling, in their own words, below the ground to just deciding to stand tall anyway?
Well, it kicks off with this really interesting, almost aggressive distinction about intelligence. There's this line, "You went to school, but I learned it in a year."
That is such a heavy statement right out of the gate. It immediately separates the I from the you.
Right.
School feels safe, it's structured, but learning it in a year, that's trauma time.
It's compressed, a crash course.
Exactly. It implies that survival taught the narrator things in 12 months that a four-year degree could never touch.
Yeah.
The antagonist might be book smart, but they don't have that earned, visceral knowledge.
And that tension just gets sharper with these kitchen metaphors. The narrator says, "You say it's easy, but you never bake."
I love that line.
Yeah.
And then it's followed by, "Oh, you want to leave? Let me give you the rake."
Bake versus rake, what's that about?
Well, think about it. Baking is creative. It's alchemy. You take ingredients, you apply heat, you make something that nourishes. It takes work.
So the narrator is the baker, the creator.
Precisely. And the other person gets the rake, a tool for just, scratching the surface. You rake leaves. It's about removal, not creation.
It paints the picture of a builder versus a user.
That's it. One person was doing the heavy lifting, the baking, and the other was just, scraping by.
And realizing that seems to trigger this huge sense of isolation, not just being alone, but the text says, "in a room full of many and still felt by yourself."
That is the specific pain of modern loneliness, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're alone in a cabin, that's one thing. But being lonely in a crowd, that's a psychological disconnect. The contrast just makes it hit so much harder.
It feels like it comes from a loss of status, too. There's this parking space analogy that is just so specific.
Well, parking in my space. And then the punchline, "Oh, I'm a visitor, thought I was much more."
Ooh.
That's the moment. That's the snap. We all think we have a reserved spot in certain people's lives, right? A permanent space.
And the narrator walks in thinking they're a resident and finds out they've been demoted.
To a visitor, yeah. It's a metaphor for displacement. You haven't gone anywhere, but your standing has completely crumbled underneath you.
So how do you stabilize after that? Because the text just pivots hard. The focus shifts from people to God.
That's the tactical shift. When human structures fail you, when your parking spot is gone, you anchor onto something else, something transcendent.
You can close it, but God will always open another door.
It frames faith as the ultimate countermove to human betrayal. And it's paired with something else really important.
Staying sober.
Yes, that's crucial. When people feel that low, the temptation is to numb out. But here, sobriety is a weapon. It's defiance. The narrator is choosing to see the drama with total clarity.
But that clarity doesn't seem to make them feel any better. That's what's so striking.
Not at all.
They say they feel low below the ground and stand tall, but I feel I might fall over.
And that, right there, is the core insight of this whole thing. It completely separates emotion from posture.
What do you mean?
Most of us wait to feel strong before we act strong. This text flips that. The narrator feels like they're going to collapse, but they choose to stand anyway.
So it's like my internal reality is chaos, but my external action is a choice.
Precisely. It proves you don't have to fix your feelings to function. You can feel broken and still operate. You can be in it till it's over.
Which all comes down to that final line. I'm still here regardless how I feel.
That's the mic drop. Presence becomes a choice that is more powerful than emotion. The narrator wins, not by feeling better, but just by remaining.
A good reminder that winning can sometimes just look like not leaving.
Right. And that leaves a pretty tough question for you listening. We let our feelings dictate our actions all the time. If you're hurt, you withdraw. If you're scared, you hide.
But what if you could separate them?
Exactly. If you stripped away how you feel about your current situation, the anger, the fear, the sadness, would you still be able to stand in the reality of it? Are your feelings deciding whether or not you even show up?
Something to chew on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
You had a kid, but not the father. Send my love, why bother? Already explain life to you. Only call me, you need something. Feeling like I'm nothing, feeling chaos on you. Let me explain, I always try to.